Two moms, two marketers, two women new to the financial industry. They have a lot of questions. That's why they're bringing in financial experts to educate all of us here on A Penny or Two for Your Thoughts.
Hey everyone, it's Chantal and Liz from Centris Federal Credit Union with another episode of A Penny or Two for Your Thoughts podcast.
We are back
On a couch.
It's different. I feel very relaxed.
Can we talk about this? Because
Yes.
I feel like I can't fully take a deep breath because I don't know if it's the couch itself or it's my pants cutting off my circulation to my breathing.
Yeah,
I think it might be.
I think it's the queso and the cake for me.
From your graduation party. Hey, every listener, Liz graduated from our leadership class course, year-long course. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was so exciting.
Feeling leadery.
Leadery. That was the word we used for a year as you headed down to your course every month.
Yes, every month I would say I'm going to go get leadery.
Yeah.
You're still in your course, so we still say it. So it's not like we have to retire it.
Yeah.
The term didn't graduate. Just me.
Do you remember like your high school graduation? Were you like, what was something that you remember from that?
I just remember being bored because we had almost 600 people.
Right.
And it's just sitting there and just waiting and waiting and waiting. I don't even remember who our valedictorian is or whatever that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who that was. And I was in the choir. So of course, then we had to get up like every couple times and sing.
Oh, yes.
And so it's like, you're walking by, everybody, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I don't want to step on you. Heels on. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I remember, so for my freshman year, I had the same locker next to the same friend of mine. And we were saying, we are going to walk down the aisle together. We are so excited. We're going to do this. And we ended up doing it. It was so cool. It was like one of those moments where like, yes, we're doing it.
Did you write anything on your hat?
Not for high school. For college, I think I said, thanks, Mom and Dad. Nice. And really, I think it was more like, thanks for paying for this. Because
I think I just did a high.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, let's talk about graduation. I mean, we've got a pretty sweet guest here.
We do have a pretty sweet guest. And I don't know about you, but I'm really excited for it because I think we've been waiting for this guest to come on the show. She's always been in our live studio audience. She likes to be behind the camera sometimes, but now we're putting her in front of the mic, folks. You're going to hear straight from her. She started at Centris last June as our marketing intern. And because she is so amazing all around and does exceptional work, and we may have bribed her a little bit, we convinced her to stay. And now she's our marketing coordinator. Our guest today is Megan Steiner. And let me tell you just how amazing she is. She's in her senior year at the University of Nebraska, Omaha. That's UNO for any Omaha peeps. And is earning a dual. Yes, you heard me right. Dual. That's deuces to multiple. She's earning dual degrees in business administration and German. Sprechen die Deutsch. She's also working towards a minor in sustainability, as sustainable fashion has been a passion of hers for a few years. Thankfully, she doesn't judge me personally for my fashion because I come in looking like a struggle bus every day. You're lucky my colors match. But she manages a blog with her twin sister, Mariah, called A Pair of Trends, and has studied abroad in Berlin, Germany. And she's also involved in a sorority. So balance is a huge part of her life. And this is where we're going to need to cue some like John Cena theme music or something, or like, let's get ready to rumble. Dun, 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 dun. Well, that's the John Cena.
Oh my God.
Thought I'd start with something that I knew from my time. Welcome to our podcast. Finally, Megan.
Woo! Yay! Yay! Here. I was, I'd always sit over there and be like, oh, if only one day.
Yes, one day
the day has come. I'm here.
Well,
I'm so excited.
When we were thinking about coming up with what our next episode was going to be, we were thinking, okay, what's the month? And you're graduating soon. And so what better time? This all kind of played out well with Liz graduating from our leadership course. And
we planned it.
Right?
We did. Yeah. We coordinated.
This is all secret.
It was all a big secret. We just kind of threw it your way to see what you would.
Oh,
What'd
well,
you think?
congratulations on your graduation and all the
not
things.
too fast. I still have a couple classes in the summer, but we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna push through those, and we're gonna call it.
Yes, that's right.
Myself graduated in May.
Well, we, as Liz said, we admire you so much for what you're doing. I mean, you came in as an intern and you just rocked it. You just brought in something that was so unique. And I don't think we were expecting that from an intern. And we had the opportunity to offer you a position. So now you're working 30 hours in our crazy area and going to school full time. So just trying to do it all.
I'm glad she said offer you the position and she didn't talk about the Gorilla Glue or duct tape or anything that we talked about.
We only said we were going to duct tape you a couple times. I mean, it was
just only twice. Like your
wasn't like
dual
every day.
degree, it was like a dual threatening ish.
Yes.
It wasn't an everyday thing.
And we told you could pick out your color too.
Yeah.
Colors.
You gave me choices.
We did.
Right.
Which is
Yes.
great.
Every day.
Every day.
Okay, so before we go into the whole, you got the like real adult job thing going on. You started as an intern. So did you have an internship?
No,
I didn't either. Like
No,
it wasn't necessarily a thing in the dinosaur ages.
Yeah,
when
no,
I was
back
roaming.
when the cavemen were working on the stones, there really wasn't
They
much.
didn't offer that.
No, there wasn't much for me to do.
But that's a thing now. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah. So talk us through, what was that all about? What did you want to gain from an internship? How did you even start looking for an internship?
Right. So I was it was right before I left for Germany that I was working in a restaurant for 2 years. I was their assistant manager and server. And I told myself, okay, after I get back from Germany, I'm going to get an internship because for a few reasons. One is I need some experience in my field because you can learn all day long in the classroom, but it's different once you get into a real life situation and, you have to buy ads and you have to do social media and, it's different. So I was like, okay, I have to get experience. Also to know that I for sure like marketing. Like, how am I supposed to know that I want to do this for the rest of my life if I don't have any prior experience into it? Right. So that was a big part of it too. And you mentioned like internships weren't a thing, but they totally are now. And
Is
I
it
feel like
a class you have to take?
No, not a class I have to take, but it is like, I feel like it's peer pressure too, because a lot of my classmates had, 1, 2, maybe even 3 internships under their belt by the time I even got my first. So I was like, oh no, I've got to get going on this or I'm never going to get a job.
Like, do you feel like the professors push it more or like even your, what do they call it? What's the
advisor?
That's the word. Thank you. Words are hard.
I think it's a lot more like encouraging now because we have career fairs all the time at UNO. Advisors are there to help you, but I think it is like a peer thing, a healthy competition, so to say.
Sure, yeah.
Like, where are you interning? Oh, I'm interning here, but do you have an internship yet? Are you going to go get one? So it's kind of a bragging point a little bit.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I got to go get an internship now because when I want that experience, my classmates are kind of, I don't want to feel like I'm left behind.
Yeah.
And third, like it's really great resume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Builders for any future employment opportunities. It's a great way to, get experience and, build up that resume because it's important.
I mean, that's what we're hoping listeners for today's episode specifically, or parents or those that have young adults in their life who are looking to start college or go to college, what really is the value of an internship? But what you said earlier really caught me to make sure that you knew that you wanted to go into marketing. You've been taking all these classes for 4 years, but 4 years is done. And then, guess what? You get to start adulting and you are supposed to find your job and your dream job and all the things, but you might not like it in the real world.
Yeah. And it's so easier to switch your major when you are in college than to go to college again to get another degree.
Right.
So while you're in college, make sure that you like it. It's also, when I was looking for internships, my older sister, Justine, shout out Justine. I know you're probably listening to this, but she told me like, go apply for anything you are remotely interested in. It doesn't have to be social media because I know you like social media, but it could be analytics. It could be anything that you're interested in. Just go try it. See, you might not meet all the requirements, but go see and try. See if you like it. It might actually surprise you. So
absolutely.
Don't be afraid to branch out and go beyond a little bit of your major, because who knows what opportunities could arise from that too.
Very good.
Right.
Try new things.
What suggestions would you give somebody, having gone through this now, what suggestions would you give somebody that's looking for an internship?
Yeah, do your research. I remember interviewing with Haley first. And I was like, okay, I did a little bit of research. I knew what Centris was about, but I still came into the first day of work not entirely knowing what a credit union was.
Join the credit union.
You're not alone.
I'm kind of telling on myself, but do your research, not only about like what the industry is, but what the company does and what their work culture is like. I know like Indeed or Glassdoor, you can do like reviews on, and you can go read reviews from former employees about what the culture is like, and make sure that their values align to yours too. Because I don't know, I think Centris values aligned to mine pretty well. So we worked out really well. But you could end up in a company that, your values don't mesh as well. And that's never good. You want to end up in a company that aligns with the same values as you. So, do your research and, ask really good questions in the interview process, because think they're not only interviewing you, you are also interviewing them to make sure that you like the company too. So, ask good questions, do your research. But yeah, just go apply for anything that you find remotely interesting, because who knows?
Well, and I think too, like you brought up a good point, interview them. I mean, you have to know who you're working for and potentially with. And so you want to have an understanding that you make sure that you can align with that and you can work with them, and maybe that you have a personality that jives well with theirs, and versus a conflict of, if you guys have different interests or different passions or things like that. That's okay, but you want to make sure that you support that. Right. So
yeah,
that's a great tip.
I remember interviewing with you and Chantel, and like from the first interview with Chantel, it's like, I'm going to like working here because it too.
What'd you do?
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Because
sometimes we shouldn't let her be alone.
We've talked about this on other episodes. We know don't do it. You keep continuing to do it. I can't help it.
Because there's certain people that let you, bring out your personality, and you two are two of those people that allowed me to do that. Same with Haley. So yeah, that's important too, to like the people that that are interviewing you and you are interviewing too.
Yeah. Shout out to Haley in our human resources department. I think that
really brought me in.
Yeah. And I love that organizations are starting to, not just have HR be that, oh, this is over here kind of thing. If something bad happens, quote unquote,
right.
They're starting to do that first round interview to really get to know, hey, is that culture going to match? And then do I have them interview with the hiring manager in the department? Because if it doesn't work at the beginning, like the HR team really knows if they're going to fit into that culture. That's number one. And then can they do the job? I think that's really important that you're looking at that, when you're anywhere you're interviewing, because you learn the job, right? Yeah. But the culture and the passion you have, that's instilled. So
right. Yeah, that's always going to be there.
That's right.
No matter what.
Right.
So
that's great. So you came in, and the first day, I think we were throwing you into meetings with us like crazy, just, hey, here we go. And at the same time, we were still learning. We still are learning. For goodness sake, we have this podcast. We're still learning every single time.
Every time.
Mm-hmm. But you came into an industry that was new, to your point. Do I really understand really what a credit union is? How is it different from a bank or other financials? And how did you kind of take that upon yourself to start learning that and embracing that type of new knowledge?
Yeah, well, you guys throwing me into those meetings really helped, because I was able to just, and you were like, you might not understand this meeting, and honestly, I don't either, but we're going to go to it and we're going to learn.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, we're going to learn. We're going to learn now. So it really put me in that mindset of learning. And then I just started seeing financial stuff all over everywhere I go. And I was like, oh, that's what that means. Now I know, when I go back to work, that's what that means. And then I started writing a lot of blogs for us. be I did a ton of research on every single blog. So then I learned something about emergency funds, how to budget to buy a new home, how to be ready to pay off student loans. So I learned a lot that way too. Yeah. But those meetings are big because our culture is so great too, that I could pause in any meeting and ask a question and anybody would be absolutely willing to answer that for me. So it's a big culture thing too, and helping you learn.
True statement. We didn't even tell her to like sell us this way. She's really just.
Yep. We didn't even have to like pay her.
Yeah. I mean,
no bribes necessary.
No bribes today.
No bribes. I love it. We're starting the week off strong, Chantel. Don't have to bribe our coworker. So then what would be your advice that you would give somebody coming into an industry? Maybe they're not as familiar with, like you said, your sister offered you that advice to go try something, even if it's maybe not your specialty or what you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's best to step out of our comfort zone. So what advice would you give somebody if they're doing that, if they're trying something? Like you jumped into the financial industry with no financial background, just as Chantel and I jumped off that diving board.
Right. Well, I heard something really interesting the other day, and it was like, it said that women are way less likely to apply for a job if they do not meet every single requirement on the board compared to men. So I thought that was really interesting. Like we are so we're so self-critical, and we think like, if I don't meet exactly one requirement on this, job posting, I'm not going to get it. Mm-hmm. But I probably didn't meet, not all of the requirements on this internship posting. So encourage you just to go and apply, because you might not meet every single requirement.
Yeah.
Sorry. But you could still make an impact. And, in those interviews, you're, like we said before, your work ethic, your passion, like your culture, that's going to matter a lot more. And your willingness to learn is going to matter a lot more than what skills you have right now.
Yeah. Right.
So if you want to go try something new, just go for it, apply for it.
Right.
Be a little fearless and just do it.
Right.
Also, you can do, maybe they'll look at your LinkedIn profile, have some endorsements on your other skills and things like that, and really beef up that. Maybe they'll look at that and see, oh, she has a really great personality. Maybe we'll interview her.
Yep. I love what you said there. The skills that we like, all of this is teachable. All the financial industry stuff, that's teachable. But the working hard, your drive to learn more, the passion that you have for doing good work, that's not as coachable or teachable. So that's great advice, to just kind of step out of that comfort zone, give it a try. You might not check all the boxes, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And have a good cover letter too, to back yourself up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Those are really important. I think those are underrated.
Yeah,
They are. And I think that's one of the harder things for people to write.
It is.
Because people have a hard time writing about themselves and like almost basically writing a pitch for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, here's why you should like me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And a thank you note.
Yes.
That's huge.
Thank
for
you
me.
notes are huge.
I appreciate that you took the time to, after that interview. You had said two things. One, the social media piece of it. I mean, make sure your social media is,
yes.
that is one thing that we look at, this is the first thing we're going to go to.
I will admit, like, as soon as we get an interview, I go look.
Yeah.
See if you know any of my friends, that's a thing still.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and you said something about, asking the questions. Again, that goes back to the personality, right? If you're not asking questions in that interview, that kind of tells me, have you really researched? Are you really that interested? So those questions, even if it's just one you can just a quick one or something that the answer to, just to show that you have interest, it does help, because that can change between two really close people in a running for a job. Who asked the questions that really, sparked interest. So
can't emphasize that enough. And like, just be prepared. If they ask you what the company does, you better be able to answer what the company does. And have really good answers prepared. I think, like you said, that's what sets apart a lot of, a lot of people from others.
Yeah.
So sure.
So you made it through your internship. What was your biggest celebration?
Oh man, I took over some social media a little bit.
A little bit.
No, that's what I love doing. And I was so happy when, I was able to take that on and really give it a little personality, and Centris, humanize it a lot. So that was probably the biggest celebration. And I have a lot of fun with it too, because I don't know if you've ever seen the What's in Our Vault series, but that's my voice behind every single one of those. And I'm going to have a hard time listening to this podcast, because I think my S's are weird. So when I edit those What's in Our Vault videos, I'm like, oh man, My S's.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
but-
never.
All right,
You
so
know.
Cam, make sure we really
Will
pump
you?
those S's up when you edit this.
Got it. Thank you. But yeah, it's fun. And I get, to meet a lot of people with that series too. Like, I have a few coming up that I had no idea, that this was their special talent, or this was, what they like to do over the weekend, or this was on their bucket list. So it's a great series that I really loved, and I hope to continue.
Yeah.
Well, my biggest celebration for sure.
You should be very proud of that series. We get so many compliments. Just even if I'm in a meeting and I'm the only one in there from the marketing team, I hear people talk about what's in our vault. They love it so much. And it's really making a difference. Not only for the community, but just even for our employees. They feel like they're seen and heard.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're important. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love seeing them spark when they say, I just saw my what's in my vault.
Yeah.
Or what's in our vault.
Yeah.
So
I think it also says a lot for you that you came up with this type of project to put yourself out there to meet so many people, because you can go into an internship and you can sit at your desk and be told what to do every single day. And that's fine. What if that's what the culture is?
check a box.
Yeah. But if you're actually going out and saying, I'm going to create a project where I can go meet people, I mean, you are going to go much farther than just sitting there waiting for things to fall in your lap, right?
I will say, like, that is not my personality at all. I don't go out willingly meeting people all the time. It's not me. But when you're in an environment that, encourages you to grow and go meet other people, then you're more willing to do that. So that's why it was so easy for me to do that at Centris, because they were so friendly.
Yes.
But anywhere else, I don't know if I would have done it.
I bet you would have. I think she would have.
I mean, she's somebody that just
I don't know.
packed up and moved to Berlin.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's talk about Berlin. My sister Mariah is going to laugh at that when I say Berlin,
Okay.
because it's a funny TikTok. Mariah's going to like that one.
So you were fortunate enough to study abroad, and that's, I think, when we both interviewed her, you were over in Germany still.
Yeah.
How do you feel that time set you up for success? And then what would you say is your biggest takeaway from studying overseas?
Oof. There's so many takeaways from studying overseas. I would recommend studying abroad to absolutely anybody that is willing to go and has the means to go, because it is like unlike any experience you'll have. You're with a group in a totally new country, not really knowing. I mean, I knew the language, but a lot of people there didn't really know the language. And you're surrounded by that language every single day. There's not the regular food you eat. Like, you get to go see new sites every day. So studying abroad is a really great experience. But for me specifically, studying abroad allowed me to be more independent. I was joking with my sister the other day. My older sister, and my twin sister, we went to Berlin right after I graduated high school for like 10 days. And my sister was like, I'm not going to be mom on this trip. You have to go check in yourself at the airport. And I was like, okay. So that's, it shows what I was coming from. I really wasn't independent at all. But here I am now in Berlin, taking the public transport by myself, buying myself plane tickets, buying myself train tickets, speaking to, natives in their language. And so it was such a great experience to be more independent and more open-minded too, because Berlin is kind of a melting pot of cultures. So you got to try new things. And being in Europe too, you were able to travel a lot of places and experience new things. So that was really, really fun. So more independent, more open-minded, and maybe learn that life is way too short to not try new things. Life is way too short to not go to a Bayern game and get a pretzel as big as your head. Life is too short to not go to Heidelberg and celebrate their 1000th anniversary with the locals. It's too short to not go and try new things. So that was one of my biggest takeaways on that one. Oh, but my other biggest takeaway was get to the airport early. I ran through way too many airports, if I will be honest, and train stations. Well, maybe just one train station, but then a couple airports. So get to the airport early.
Yeah. Do you feel like we may have missed something in our lives?
Yeah. Like, as she's sitting here talking, I'm just like, you suck. You have done nothing.
It's not too late.
I didn't leave Nebraska.
What about Omaha? I'm like, seriously, like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you didn't even leave Omaha.
For like a really long time. Yeah.
Well, even here too, it's not too late to, try new things like that taco truck that's down the street that you haven't tried, or a new ice cream flavor or something like that.
I just think I did, like, the first time I traveled overseas, I was in my 30s, maybe pushing 40s, maybe, I don't remember. It's all getting a
It's
little,
just numbers, people. It's just numbers.
But I mean, to think about having that opportunity when you're in your early 20s and just like you come across, and I hope people can hear this, like when people are hearing it, you come across just absolutely so mature and ready to go and ready to do, but you are like that in real life. Like you are just on your path for absolutely great success. I can't wait to watch her grow up.
I know.
Oh, don't start.
No, but it's just amazing. And those type of experiences, being brave enough to do those when you're young, nothing holding you back. It's so important. Like you said, if you have the means, if you have the ability to do it, you're going to be scared, and that's okay. And that just makes you just, 10 steps ahead,
Yeah.
That discomfort and that scare is what helps you grow. Like that's what's going to make you grow.
Absolutely.
If you continue to sit in that comfort zone, you're not going to grow.
Yep. Absolutely.
Exactly. Like
that's what I'm hearing.
I was sitting on the plane. I was like, am I really on this plane right now?
Yeah.
I am really on this plane right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're doing this.
I'll be back in, 5 months.
Yeah. Wow. 5 months away from your home and all the things that you always had known. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was good.
Good.
And then you get other things over there that you really enjoy, and then you have to come back and start, go back to reality.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And eat the American food versus the good food that's over there.
Yeah.
Oh.
This
It hurts your tummy.
The pretzel that you're talking about, we're going to have to talk about that later.
Yes. Can we? Yes. Let's do a
I need pictures.
side conversation about that.
Okay. So you've been working 30 hours and going to school full time. You're in a sorority. You are doing so many things. What do you do to stay organized, focused, but still have time for yourself?
Yeah. Energy drinks. I want to say a special shout out to Alani New. You've been getting me through a lot of classes lately. But my planner. Thank you, caffeine. For my planner is my lifeline, because I have so many things I need to do, like every day and every week too. It helps me prioritize. Cannot stress enough the prioritization that is needed in college. I'm sure you guys don't know that already, but
can we talk about your prioritization, what you use at work though? What
You're right. I was like, she just said planner.
I know.
And
I was like, I've never seen a planner.
She's going to have to bring this in.
She's trying to
she needs a
be
picture.
fancy.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I have two separate lives. Like I have two separate task things. Like I have my college. Oh, it's not like that. You know what I mean? Like I have my work to-do list.
Okay.
Which is on a Post-it like tablet, guys.
That has to be yellow.
It has to be yellow.
It's on a Post-it note, and I rewrite it every week with the new things to do. It's really It really is helpful. But then I have my planner, which is my classes and, any other appointments or tasks that I have to do on that one. And I rewrite that again every week. And, help me prioritize which ones need to be done first. And then, get to the bigger things later. Or, sometimes that doesn't work out and you get to the later things the night before it's due.
Well,
you've rewritten it for 3 weeks. Not speaking from experience or anything.
So you've been preparing for this graduation. It has come, it has gone. You're graduating. You have some classes that you need to, wrap up this summer. But for those individuals that are maybe, just starting high school or getting closer to graduating or getting closer to graduating from college, what's some advice that you give just to get through this crazy life?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to go to a college where none of your friends are going.
Yeah.
I think my sister and I were like 2 of maybe 8 or 6 people from my high school that went to UNO. So don't be afraid to go somewhere else, because you'll make new friends and get involved on campus. Greek life is a good way to do that, but there's so many clubs and organizations like at UNO. There's Sustain UNO and all those good things that you can join. And yeah, you're going to be busy, but you're going to make friends doing it. And having the friends is a really, important aspect of college, to have a support system, especially if you go to a college that's, a little further away from your family or your other friends. That support system is going to be really important to have. So go get social. I wish I had done that a little bit more while I was in college. I still am in college. I'm acting like I already graduated. But yeah, don't be afraid to go meet new people. You'll need that support system. So
Yeah. Just joining those clubs. I just remember, going in that first couple weeks, you don't know anybody and you're just trying to find your classes and figure out how to get back to your dorm and remember what floor you lived on or whatever. No, not, you're looking at me like, no, that.
No, I went back
that was just me.
I went back to college, like literally walking around with my schedule in my hand, trying to figure out, okay, it's in this building. What's the room number? I don't know what room number it is. Oh yeah. I literally, you just saw the panic come over my face.
Yeah, I did.
I relived that moment. I was like, breathe.
But it is those groups really are what starts breaking down that anxiety and the nervousness and the unsure future, right? Because you start meeting people who you realize they're in the same boat, with you,
Really, no one knows what they're doing.
Right. No.
Only a few have it figured out.
You're in it with the people that are in the same boat as you, or there's some that are like sophomores and juniors who have been there, so they get it, so then they can help guide you. Because those groups are not just meant for the freshmen, it's for anybody. So it's kind of nice you get exposure to even them. And like you said, that's a great time to build those relationships because you never know when your bridges or your paths are going to cross again.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's huge with networking. All right. Tough question here. Graduation, looking back, what's something you're really proud of?
Oh man. Well, I would say getting the dual degree in German. So I initially started out as like, I'm not going to do German in college because I don't want to. But then I went to Germany with my sisters and I was like, okay, I'll minor in it. And then a couple years later, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to major in it, And then I found out that the major isn't the same thing as a dual degree. You have to do a little bit more to get the degree. So I was like, oh, well, okay, I'll just get the dual degree because my older sister has a dual degree and I need 2 sheets of paper just like she does. So I got
not competitive.
Wow. No, not at all. Justine, I love you. But she pushes me to be a better person for sure. But deciding to do that is probably my biggest. And I think whenever I hear a song that's like degrees, I'm like, oh, 2.
Yes.
2 degrees,
That is perfect.
Yeah, I will say for our listeners that didn't get to see her, when I said dual degree, she threw up the deuces, like she was super proud.
Like, remember, I've got 2.
She's like, I'm 2. You guys have 1, I've got 2.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our listeners then, what's something that you, looking back, would change or do differently, a learning, if you will, that would be good for our listeners that may be starting out or giving advice to somebody that is starting out?
Starting out in college.
Mm-hmm.
Again, join
and Augie, you're going to listen to this in about 15 years.
Augie, go join those groups. And I think like there's a lot of pressure too to be like an outspoken leader, and I'm not an outspoken leader. I'm kind of like an indirect leader. So don't be overshadowed by those that are outspoken leaders. Like you can still be a leader even if you are not outspoken. So don't get down on yourself because other people are more outgoing than you, because there are going to be more people that are more outgoing than you. But don't get discouraged, because if you join the groups and everything like that, you will find your people, and that is going to help you in the long run for sure.
You actually had like a whole leadership experience recently before you graduated, with a whole course that led you to be a leader in your group and have to work with individuals, and talk us through what that was all about. That was so intriguing for us to kind of watch her go through this.
Living vicariously through her.
Yeah.
So our capstone course is a course, and you do the capstone cup. It's pretty unique to UNO, so they say. I'm pretty sure it is. But you basically take a company. It's a real life scenario. You have to figure out what strategic plan they should implement to either grow more or solve a problem or anything like that. So, and then you present it in kind of like a science fair type of way, the first round, and then 5 or 6 groups get picked to go to the second round, which is then like a 15 to 20 minute presentation in front of all 30 to 40 judges.
Wow.
But no, it was a really great experience, because I got to learn a lot. Like I've always heard you guys talk about strategy, but I never really, it's strategy, but strategy versus tactics and all that. We learned all that in that class, and differentiating between those two, and then making up a whole idea of what this company should do. it was really fun. And, working with people can be hit or miss sometimes for
Right.
sure, but you have to, work with what you were dealt and, get the project done in a way that's efficient. And, and I always have I'm like, oh, if my name is tied to a piece of work, it has to be good.
Yeah.
So that's just my personality. So you have to be dealt, you have to deal with what you've been dealt. So
Yep. Very good. Can
Yep.
we
Work through that
talk
experience.
about the face that you just made right now? Let's
was that for?
Let's visualize. Let me give a visual of what just happened here for our listeners. Megan said you have to deal with what you're dealt, and Liz looks at me like, I'm stuck with her, like looking at me.
No, it was more of the. Oh, I think Megan's saying that
Oh,
about
no.
us. Like she has to deal with what
Us.
us.
Yeah, that was what.
It was like, literally, she says, "You have to deal with what you're dealt with, or what
It's
you're
just
dealt."
like,
It's like
you take your internship and then you get a job.
and you,
you just deal with what you're dealt, what you're given. Like
deal with it.
You get these 2 nut jobs, and there you go.
She's like, I'm gonna run this podcast someday for you too.
She's like, I'm gonna lead.
Yes. I hope
I-
that happens.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot. Like one day we're gonna be doing our podcast and we're gonna like zoom her in from Paris or something
Yeah.
because she's gonna have her own fashion company and it's
Right.
that's what we know is gonna happen in real life. So,
Yeah. Yep, we're
Maybe
gonna zoom
not.
in and be like,
Glad you
Megan, we
believe
need your
me.
advice.
Yes.
We need your strategery.
Yeah.
you're
You're
an
an
expert
expert.
now. So
Yes, you are. You are her team's
Just
expert.
kidding.
They always say hire people that are smarter than you and that can do things better than you.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
think we
I
did
don't
that.
know.
I totally agree with that. Like all like kidding aside, I had a manager who told me that so much, hire better than you, someone who you want to take on that next role. And I think that is so important for people to hear, not just people who are looking for a job, but management. Like, don't be afraid to hire those amazing people that
Right.
want to like change the world. Because that makes you better. You said it earlier, like that's the only thing that you can do to help you grow.
Yep.
I mean, you can't just get to a position in life and say, okay, I'm done. I've accomplished everything. Like, no, not good enough.
There's got to be more.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't hire somebody that's smarter than you, how are you going to get pushed?
Right.
You're not.
continuous learning.
Yep.
I always told my sorority too, like they asked, since I'm graduating, like what has Chi Omega brought you and everything. And I'm like, well, you have to surround yourself with people that are better than you if you want to be able to grow, because, I never saw myself joining sorority at all. But, to be more outspoken and have friends was essential for me to go join a sorority, which
Yeah.
is, so surround yourself with people that are better than you
Very good.
at whatever you want to be better at.
That's great.
I think she just teed us, like, she knows the platform and the program and like how we do this.
Mm-hmm.
Penny or two for your thoughts, Megan. What do you
Alright.
want to leave our listeners with? And what do you want them to walk away from this episode? What do you want them to take away?
Do not be afraid to try new things. Life is too short to not try new things and keep life interesting. Whether that's a new internship or studying abroad or going to college or restarting college, any of those things is going to be terrifying to do. But once you do it, you're going to have this sigh of relief, or, you're going to look back on it and say, wow, I actually did that. Like, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to try and apply to the internship, go abroad, things like that. Keep life interesting.
Very good.
It's too short. Time goes too fast.
Awesome.
Keep life interesting, like sitting on this couch.
I know, like, I am comfy.
Yeah.
Can we move this couch outside? Because it is so
Yeah.
beautiful out.
Yeah.
I think that's
You
what we
know?
should do.
I think that's the next one,
Outside.
Outside.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
nature podcast.
Nature podcast. The
We're going to listen to the birds.
Do you hear the birds?
We could have a credit and debit on.
Yes.
Oh, our next episode about the geese.
Yeah, the geese.
Yes.
Oh, by then the egg will have hatched, so we'll
Yeah.
know.
So many things to tell our listeners. We're just going to keep you hanging on
Yep.
for our next episode.
Yep. Thank you so much, Megan. We are so glad you are a part of our team, and we are so glad you agreed to stick around and hang out with us every single day.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
I'm so
for-
glad to be here.
Yes.
Thanks for being on the show and letting us just kind of pick your brain a little bit. About
I've
graduational
been,
things.
I've been waiting to be on this. She
just
know I
been
wouldn't
sitting there
pass
waiting.
up the
She's like,
opportunity.
Hey guys, hey.
She's gonna check it off. Her little yellow
Yep.
notepad. Check.
Podcast.
Check. And in her planner, because she probably had this written down in her planner.
Oh yeah, that mysterious
A mysterious planner that we're going to need to see evidence of.
I'll bring it.
All right. And if you enjoyed, our listeners, if you enjoyed what you were hearing today, go ahead and rate and review our podcast. You can also find some really awesome information about Centris and all things financial on our social media channels. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Megan is doing a stellar job of making sure all good information is out there. And if you want to check out our blog, you can visit our website at centrisfcu.org. Or if you just want to chat with one of our experts, you can give us a call at 402-334-7000. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.